Satnam, I'm Nirvair Khalsa, and here we are in this month of August where we get a chance to practice again together one of the wonderful techniques in Kundalini Yoga as taught by Yogi Bhajan. A lot of times when I'm thinking about what we're going to practice, usually things come my way, or I start kind of thumbing through some of my favorite manuals that KRI has produced, including one from this manual we're going to do today from Prana, Prani, Praniyam. And the really fun thing about that manual is that the techniques, the Kriyas are dated. And that's what we're trying to do now in everything that KRI produces. Because then you can go back into the library of teachings and you can look up the lecture and watch how Yogi Bhajan taught it. It really does help me quite a bit to really understand the technique and the context of the Kriya. And so we'll have a link to on the web page to this Kriya so that you can actually read. It was really a great lecture by Yogi Bhajan because it was actually very short and it's kind of interesting and you kind of read through it, but his theme was very consistent throughout. And there's always some things that are like minor revelations to me that I end up thinking about for a few days in any event. He was really talking about polarity, and he was talking about the good and the bad and the good, and he was talking about duty, and he said something very interesting. He said, really, and I'm paraphrasing here, the goal of life, the beauty of life is accomplishment. And I thought to myself, gosh, that's very Western. I can relate to that being, a Western male. But he said, yes, it's accomplishment, but the accomplishment is to love life. And I thought that was really fascinating. The idea that the accomplishment of life, the goal of life, is to love life itself. And that in itself, made me think about exactly, you think it's kind of a general, what does that exactly mean? But the theme he was talking about in the lecture was the idea of polarity. You love all of your life, and all parts of it. And that when we live in a world of polarity, but we tend to even over-polarize ourselves within our own selves in relationship to those polarities. For instance, you think something is really good, but his point is there's always something a little bad in something good. And there's always something a little good when you judge something as being bad. And so it's a fantastic perspective. Interestingly enough, he taught a technique that is really as part of this lecture that will build your health and well-being. It's like a therapeutic technique in a certain way. It's a pranayam, and he talked about the pranayam as being something that you can reduce the heat in your body, which I kind of interpret as being inflammation. And modern Western medical and Eastern medical science really say the root cause of most diseases is inflammation anyway. And he relates that to the blood and to actually changing that through the circulation of your cerebral spinal fluid as it relates to the brain stem and the gray matter in the brain. So it's a pretty simple technique. It's very short this month. By the way, I did love those live yoga Ekram cards that we did last month. I'm still doing it for longer periods of time, and a particular mudra that I found in 21 stages of meditation. So I'm actually not stopping that, but this is great. I'm going to practice this with you as well. And it's short. The whole thing is really 5 minutes to 8 minutes. What I'm going to recommend that you at least do the technique for 3 minutes. If you want to stretch it out to 6.5 minutes, then you can do that as well. And then afterwards, sit a little bit. And I found in practicing it that it really puts you into a very fine, meditative, zero to shunya-like state, and you can enjoy that for a while. If you find that the technique has stimulated something, and Yogi Bhajan said as people were practicing it, you know, if you're getting angry, if you want to bolt, if you want to, if it's really irritating you, he was saying good, and that means it's working. If you carry that over, you know, at the end of the meditation, you know, it's always good to do some chanting, you know, like chant to Guru Ram Das or something like that. I found in my practice so far that I haven't carried that with me. The shunya state, the zero state afterward, is actually very elevating and pleasant. So, start with the tune and mantra. Om Namo Gurudev Namo 3 times. And then the mudra for this is that you're going to use the Mercury finger, Buddhi mudra, with the other fingers kind of straight, like this. He said that this will make you insane like monkeys. And recognize that, so you can concentrate your way through it. I thought that is great. You know, my interpretation is that you're actually communicating with your own self to actually purify yourself, to reduce the inflammation, the heat in the body, so that you can be a healthier person on all levels. Right? So, and then arms are going to be the sides. The hands are up like this. And it's interesting, what you're going to do is you're going to really lift up through the spine from the pelvis up, and you're going to lean back 30 degrees. When you lean back 30 degrees, your knees are going to lift up a little bit, but you don't want to tilt the pelvis, all right? So you're going to stay really up straight and with your neck and neck lock, and you're going to hold the position. And he really wanted a real anchor firmness through the sacrum. So what you're going to do is you're going to tighten those lower muscles through the groin and through the buttocks to kind of hold yourself in position. The eyes are going to be closed, and what you'll do is you'll hold this position and just instability for a minute or two, and then you start this powerful pranayam. The key is the tongue. You stick the tongue all the way out, and you do lion breath, really, he said, pumping the navel point like a foot pump. So it looks like this. Right, so at least 3 minutes of that. If you want to continue on into, 6.5 minutes, that's about the maximum. And then right at the end, you're going to take a deep inhale. You'll hold on to opposite shoulders, stay in the positions, and you're going to tighten every muscle in your body 3 times with cannon fire exhales, like this. Like that, 3 times. All right, so a minute or two, get in the position, really tighten everything up, lift up through the spine, eyes are closed, hold on to it, and then tongue out, all the way out, and you do the powerful pumping breath through the navel. Oh, and at the end, when you're holding on, also stick your tongue out. As far as it is, he says it will stabilize the central nerve channel, the Sushumna. So really, there's a lot of things going on in this Kriya just for a few minutes. And then afterwards, sit in Gyan Mudra, meditate, sing the sunshine song at the end for somebody to spread the energy out, and just recognize this idea of neutrality in action. The idea, the definition of being a yogi, being beyond opposites, where you can actually see and play with the polarity in our existence. So I think we'll have a lot of fun with this. I will, in August. And we'll do something again in September. So, Sat Nam.